CGTN 和央视频的小伙伴，大家好，我是天骄。
大家好，我是 Lucy。
你好 ，Lucy。
你好，天骄。
我们的主题出来了，是你好中国。那今天也是你好中国系列的第一站，我们来到陕西。哎，你好，我们在直播呢。
Hi, I'm a little lost. Do you speak any English?
A little. So can I help you?
What are you looking at?
我们在看摄像机，看这位
We're looking at the camera. We're having this live stream program right now. Should I stay or please stay? Tell us what your name is. My name is Mei Yue. Good name. Lin Mei Yue. Well, it's like a girl's name, but it's beautiful. You're very handsome. So it's a perfect time. And we were just talking about this is the Hello China series, and this is our first stop, Shaanxi. So for the first stop of Shaanxi, and we're at the Shimao archaeological site. Oh my god, what is this? Where am I? So what's up, Shaanxi? This is the name of our program. So we are gonna present 12 live stream shows in Shaanxi, and each and every program has its own highlights. So when I came to Shimao, I had a lot of readings, and I heard that in the late Neolithic period of China, this is the largest city in China. So you got lost, but let me tell you, you're at the right place, and today we have a lot of tasks. So Xiaozhang, so why don't you tell us what is your task? So do you want to take up the challenge? We have a challenge here. What is the prize? Well, there are many prizes and there are many awards. You can get one, and our viewers, they may also get a share of the award. So what is my reward? So your reward would be, you will be able to see those artifacts from thousands of years ago. And you will also harvest a lot of fans. So now let's come back to the point. And so for my task, we're gonna bring a lot of experts to Shimao, and this is a cluster of archaeological sites. Here we are on site of the archaeology site. So what are the expectations? And I'm having a lot of expectations and questions, of course. So let me share with you my story. And in January, I visited Sanxingdui. I know that there were a lot of artifacts, but I've never got a chance to see how those archaeological staff do archaeological works. But today, I'm very lucky. I'm gonna go to the Shimao archaeological site. I'm gonna visit the relics and artifacts hospital. So I will have an opportunity to see how the staff preserve and repair those relics. So what is our task to Mei Yue? Well, I'm looking forward to this kind of task, and maybe you can give me some indoor assignment that is suitable to my temperament. Well, the king of Shimao is gonna give you an order. You will have to travel to the outer skirt of the city. Well, the outer skirt of the city, it sounds very far. How far is it? Well, maybe it's thousands of meters away. Well, can you see that? So, just kidding. Well, seriously? Yeah, you can actually go there within 3 minutes. Well, 3 minutes, 3 kilometers, that's a big challenge. So, you wanna accept this challenge, and you can choose your own way to finish 3 kilometers within 3 minutes. So I'm gonna leave you alone, and see you later. Bye. So truly I'm looking forward to this program, because talking about the Neolithic period, for me and for many of you, it's a distant past. The New Stone Age, I think it only exists in museum, but talking about Xia Dynasty, you may think it only exists in history book, but today it's in front of my eyes and also your eyes. So today I have an expert for the Shimao Archaeological Research Program. So the way we greet each other is what's up. So this program is what's up, Shaanxi. So give us some introduction. So we're at the Royal Palace altar. So this is the innermost site of the ancient city. In plain language, Shimao was a city, and so Shimao is like the Imperial Palace of the country. At the time, it was the royal family who lived here. Well, I think there is very strict hierarchy in this place. Yes, you're right, and they have actually considered a lot in selecting this place. So what we are at right now, it's a place that connects many different mountains. So this is a place that is connecting to many different places. So we are right now stepping on the entrance site of the Royal Palace city. So this is actually a plaza in front of the Imperial Palace, and this is in the shape of a rectangular, and it's more than 2,000 square meters. So all right, now we are gonna enter into this palace. Originally, we had 3 walls or 3 gates. You can just imagine. So this is the first gate, and this is the first entrance gate. But it's very odd. And you said there is a plaza, but if you look to the other side, you will know that the gate is not located in the central axis. Well, you can see that we have in front of us a U-shaped city wall. So that is actually standing in between the plaza, and on both ends, on both sides, we have 2 entrance doors. At the time, it was also for defensive purposes, because talking about Wencheng City, so a lot of that was for defensive purposes. And how is this different from the inner city or concave city? It is similar because this is also for defensive purposes, and this is maybe one of the earliest such city layout that we have discovered in China. So talking about archaeology, surely there's a lot of myth in it. I had a lot of respect for archaeology because it brings us closer to the history and civilization of mankind. So we are actually seeing a section of wall that is from thousands of years ago, and so we are actually stepping on a pathway that is just for travelers. And so if you can touch the ceramics or the stone plates there, it's actually original, and you can see that it's delicately treated, and all the floor is covered by such bricks. Now let's keep moving. You can see that there is a corner, there's a turn when walking inside. So because this is a concave city, and this is a city that is surrounded by walls, and it was designed so for defensive purposes. So imagine there are invaders, and they cannot just invade from head on, and they have to make turns, and when they make turns, that will create a lot of time for you to respond. So give us a guess, how tall can a gate be? Well, I think if we restore this place, the wall would be 4 to 5 meters. So truly, this is a very good place in terms of defensive purposes, and you can stand on a very high place so you can have a bird view of the enemy. And traditionally, you may know that in a typical culture of China, there is one wall after you get into the gate, and that gate originally was also for defensive purposes. So if we move on, you can see a lamp of 30 degrees. You can see that all the floor is covered by stone plates. Our ancestors, when they want to climb up to the top of the altar, they have to take this lamp. So what is the consideration behind this? Well, if we use those stone plates, that is a lot easier for engineering considerations, and also it's very conducive for drainage system. So from my angle, maybe you can turn around the camera and so this is the original design of the city, and it's a U shape, so visitors can only come in from two sides of the front wall. So here we have a cave. What is this cave? So in a lot of the walls in Ming Dynasty and also in the Great Wall, we have a lot of holes like this. I know a lot of those holes were for bowmanship, for soldiers to shoot arrows. And what is this for? Well, take this as a quiz. I will tell you the answer later, and if you have already the clue, leave your answer in a comment. So this is a very interesting place. If you look closely, you can see that there are a lot of signs on that. So what is this? I can see a big box inside of which there are many smaller ones. So there is one very big box in it, one very big rectangle in it, and inside there are many small circles. What is this? Is this a part of the writing system of China? So talking about Shimao, that was in the late Neolithic age of China. That was a period of time when Chinese characters was being formed, but very sadly there are only a few of those symbols, and we still don't know what is the pattern in this system, and we may just call it a symbol, and we don't know whether it is a character. So from this I can see that you are being very professional and strict with standards. So you can see that because of the wall, we are going to change our path forward, and now we have to turn around and walk towards the north. So you can see that you have to make a lot of turns to arrive at this point, and you can see this is designed so for defensive purposes. So this entrance system is very sophisticated, and there's a lot of military defensive considerations behind this. So what is this? This is a very small platform, and standing on which you have a very good view of the surrounding environment. Our understanding is that 4,000 years ago, there used to be some very large ceremonial events, and this is the observatory platform. Well, after 4,000 years, we are here again, and we can just visualize what truly happened 4,000 years ago. Truly, this is mysterious and spectacular. So what is this sculpture? What is this structure? So this is a very small cottage made of stone, and it's very small. It's only 8 square meters, and I think it's for some special purposes. But just think about it. This is the second gate, and this structure is pretty close to the gate, and you can take a wild guess. What is this for? Is it for the gate guard? Yes, it is for the gate guard. So after you meet the gate guard, and you can check in this Imperial Palace. So this is the second gate that we are walking through. So when this place was discovered, how did you know that this is a gate? Because we found out that there is a wooden door. It was already burned, and we can show you a photo when this place was discovered. So these are some of the ornaments attached to the door, and you can see that's how burned it was. So it was closed, and the whole door collapsed on this side. So when you discover this kind of scene, how would you handle that? So we're simply going to take some samples, and then we take a lot of photos, and then we just bury the door underground. So you're telling me that the door that you found was buried underground? Yes. So this is the second gate, and you can feel that the road has become wider. I don't know if you have noticed that the stone walls on both sides are different. Yes. Well, let me look back, because at the very beginning it was a lot narrower, but here You can see a lot of rickshaws of sections of wall, and here you can see that there are some stone shelters, and we can actually hold one person for that. Well, originally this is for the columns of buildings, because originally this is the place that surround the columns. Well, I think they are pretty close to one another, so in every 2 steps there is one column. So when we have the column, we are also going to have the beams of the structure. Yeah, originally this is a big palace. Well, imagine we were outdoor just now, but right now we are walking into a palace room. So this is like a front lobby, the front corridor of the palace. So what is this? So just now I could stand in, but this one is popping out. And what is this for? Well, you've seen a photo of pressed wood, and here this is quite different. And so when we excavated this place, a lot of the wood were still not 100% closed, so we just piled some bricks up to surround the wood. So what is inside is the column left over from 4,000 years ago. So this is truly an amazing feeling, and having a dialogue through time and space. Well, actually we have more such protections in front of us. It's just this one. Well, truly this is amazing. You're telling me that the inside of these bricks we have a very large column made of wood? Yes, it's about the height of 2 meters, and I have another photo with me. So this is the wood. So this is also burned. Yes. But look at this section. It's pretty well preserved after 1,000 of years. So for protective purposes, we just, surround it with bricks so that we can cut it off from the air and it won't be oxidized. Well, I'm just, visualizing what is it like to walk into this building 4,000 years ago. And when you are walking inside, you may think that each and every inch of this land has its own story. So here we have another corner, and this is like a vertical turn, a direct turn. So you can see that this is a very enclosed place. Well, this is actually another building. Well, so whenever he tells me that there is a space, there is a door. Well, that means that we are approaching to the 3rd gate. Exactly, and this will be the last gate before we claim the top of the altar. Well, you cannot tell this was a palace, and this is not like the one that we just saw. But when you were on this archaeological task, what was the place like when you first encountered that? So when we found that, we found out that this place is in total ruins, and we have a lot of columns collapsed down from the top, and everything was piled in a very chaotic manner. So this place, when discovered, it was just like this slope, and there were a lot of plantation, there were some debris and some chaotic piles of wood and debris. So when you climb up a slope, you're just over there, there were a lot of earth, soil, of course, but also a lot of plantation. So it's very incredible. And when you are climbing up a mountain, you can never imagine that after digging up the slope, you could discover an ancient city. And so originally this place was covered by the slope. Yes, and because we spent years using our shovels, and now this place is what it's like, and we discovered a city. So we are actually tracing back the memory of the human race to its childhood. So for the 3rd gate, how different was it when you discovered the gate? So when we came to this part of the palace, we found a lot of mural paintings. But because the wall collapsed, a lot of the mural paintings were falling on the ground, and we had a lot of efforts for preservation. And I can show you some photos. So these are some of the mural photos, and I have one photo that is zoomed in, and you can see that this is part of the paintings on the wall, and you can see that the color is very well preserved, and this is the pattern on the wall. Truly, this is mysterious seeing this mural painting, and it gives you a feeling of ritual ceremony. And so this is, after the third gate, we are officially at the top of the Royal Palace city. So which means that we are pretty close to the main palace. So this is the gate, the third gate, and it's very wide. And on this gate, in front of this gate on the floor, we discovered that the floor was covered by a lot of plates made of stones, stone bricks. And imagine, 3,000 years ago, when we have to walk into this door, we're gonna have to go through the gate guards. All right, we are now at the top of the Imperial City, and I can see this is a very thick wall. Yes, this is a very large construction foundation that we discovered. So to just give you an example, when you visit the Forbidden City, at the three main palaces, you will see three very large foundations, and the foundation is just very big. So how big is it? So this is in rectangular shape, and we are at the southeast corner of the building, and so it has the four sides, and on each side, and it's 100 to 120 meters. So it's just very magnificent. All right, so now we're gonna just walk along the foundation. So we're right now walking at the south side of the foundation. So we cleared up some of the earth, and you can see that this is the wall. It may appear to be wall, but it's actually the foundation for the palace. At the south foundation wall, we found a lot of sculptures. Here you can see that this is actually a human face, and it's very abstract, but you can still tell it's a face. Here you can take a look. So this is another human face, and maybe he's doing certain type of sports. So on this foundation, do we have many other inscriptions and carvings? Well, human face is just one part of the carvings. In addition to human facing, we have discovered many other types of carvings, and later you will be able to see that. So painting is one of the formats to express certain information. It also tells you that they started to have self-awareness. I believe that they had a lot of self-awarenesses, and that is why they put their own image on the walls. So this is the area where we had the most mural paintings and carvings, and here you can see that. What are those? You can leave some comments under this program. So what is this for? At the very beginning I thought this is snake, but it's not snake. So for the animals living here, yes, we do have snakes, but you can look very closely the pattern of this carving, and you can have some comparison between this one and the ones that you're gonna see later, and later you will draw some conclusion. So remember, I believe this is snake, but I think the head is different, and the body carries a lot of lines and patterns and some ornaments, and I still don't know what this is. So you're telling me this is not snake? Well, later you will reach your own conclusion. So what is this? this is a heavenly god figure. Well, if you watch closely, you will know this is different, and we believe this is the face of certain god that they worship, but you can feel that it's still very similar to human face, and he's wearing certain type of crown, and it is also attached with some ornaments. Well, that reminds me of the gold facial mask, but this one is a lot more flat. Well, there is a lot of similarity, but the stone carvings between the two sites are different in terms of historical periods. So what is the gap of historical period? So we are 700-800 years earlier than Sanxingdui culture. So from this part and to that, so you can see this is still a very small stone carving, and this is the front side of the heavenly face. And this one is the largest stone carving piece that we have discovered in Shimao. And you can see it's more sophisticated and it's more delicate. And you can see it's also symmetrical, because this is just huge, and this is the center of the stone carving system, and it's symmetrical on both sides. So now I'm gonna move the camera to both sides of this central axis. So what is this? So this is half of the face, and it actually finishes from there. And so this is the nose, I guess, and this is the eye, and this is the mouth, and this is the ornaments on the hair. And if you go further right, there is nothing there. So if you look to the left, you will see another face, which is also a half face. But in the very center, we have one complete face. Well, I believe that the two half faces, the side view of the face, and you can see this is clearly more sophisticated. So on this side of the wall, well, by wall, I'm actually talking about this foundation. Even walking here, you can feel the majesty of this building. So now you should tell me the answer. If it is not snake, what is it? What can it be? So I'm like, carrying my own archaeological mission myself. Well, you can take a closer watch, and you can see that we have another snake. So this is a very simple line, and I think this is definitely a snake. It's more abstract, and later you will find more specific style of painting, and you can see that there's nothing on this part of the wall. Well, I found it, and clearly this is a snake. I can see its head, its tail, its body, and this one is popping up from the break. So I don't know if you still remember the stone carving that we saw, and the head is quite different because the body carries a lot of patterns. So tell me what it was. Tell me what was the carving is. Well, I believe it's a dragon. It's the image of dragon that lived in people's imagination. I think people were simply referring to other animals existing on planet Earth, and they came up with this imaginary figure of dragon. So here we have another snake. So this one is also popping out, and you can see that it's truly amazing. And coming to this archaeological site, you have to spend a lot of time, watch them very carefully, and you also need to spend a lot of time comparing your discoveries. So excavation is just one first step. Well, I can imagine that thousands of years ago, when our ancestors built this city, they never thought that after thousands of years, people like us could come to this place and do our research. And now let's take a look at this column. So this one also has a carving on it, and it's quite different. And this is three-dimensional, and it's truly amazing. And what is interesting is that we had a corridor with a width of 8 meters, and this is the column that is standing at the very center of the corridor. And on this side, we have another stone wall that goes in parallel with the one that we just walked by. So how come we have a column standing at the very center? So you can take a look on both sides. We have stone carvings, and on both sides, a very mysterious, heavenly-looking face is carved on the surface. Here I can see it very clearly, and so this is how tall this column is. So it is where it was, and we didn't move it, and you can see that beneath it we have some foundation. And I believe there is some consideration that this is put in the very center, and so all the passerbys, they will be able to see this when they walk through, and it can maybe scare you off. At least it can do is to give you a feeling of mystery, and it can add this feeling of majesty, and it can reflect the power of the rulers. So we're just walking along the path that enters this palace, and I truly have felt the majesty of the ancient king. So we're at the very core and central area of the Shimao site, and if we look from the sky, you'll be able to see a bird view of the whole city. And Wu Yue, my colleague, is at a outskirts city, and now let's take a look at a video clip that we shot.
Oh, 有点晕，有点晕。刚才从哪儿过来的？那儿吗？那儿，从那儿过来的。我的天，好远。
So I just came to this place from right over there. It's such a long distance, and I wasn't briefed about this mission, and she just told me I had only 3 minutes. Oh my god, do you have water?
你们这节目组的人怎么来的？
So how did you come here?
你们坐车来的吗？
Give me a few seconds, please. Did you drive here?
这地方叫什么呢？叫
What is this place?
石卯。
So what is the name of this place?
石卯遗址。
Shimao. It's the Shimao archaeological site.
真的好累。
I'm exhausted.
有一个师傅，我
So just now
叫什么？外
I
城
encountered
东门是吧？是吧？外城东门。
a colleague who told me that this is the eastern gate in the outer skirt, and whatever, I don't know what this place is.
没什么人。
Well, there's no one here.
哎。
We got one here who is smiling at me.
对，我看一个大明星朝我走来了。
Oh, this is a big star, and a big star is walking towards me. Are you Mei Yue?
对，我有就是。
Well, you know my name. So because I saw you online, and
应该是前线了。
so you are an online celebrity. So what is your name? What is your name? My name is Wu Dan. Cool name, and I like your name. I like yours too. And Mei Yue, it means happy every day. Wu Dan may mean free of concern. So maybe you can change your name. I can change slightly mine, and we can be a true pair of partner, and so we can work as maybe tour guide. So what is your job? You know, I'm a instructor of this museum. How did you come to this place? Well, I have a lot of interest in this place. I tried my shots and I was lucky. I'm very interested in a history and a civilization that is buried underground. I had a lot of interest. So you had this interest from a young age? Well, I developed this interest with, with education, with learning. And so I guess from a young age, you were just, playing mud. And so where did you go to school? I studied in Xi'an. Are you a local from here? Yes, I'm a local here. I'm from Shenmu of Yulin of Shaanxi province. So Yulin is the north part of the Shaanxi province. Well, can you teach me a local dialect? So instead of saying what's up, we're gonna say it in a different manner. So it's very unique. How do you say where have you been? It's 做事去了. Well, you are very good at mimicking my tone, and it doesn't seem that you have been here for a short time. So this is the local way of speaking. Where have you been? What's up? What else? How do you say, do you have a good time? Did you have a good time? So this is how the locals say it. Very standard. So well done. So tell me what I can find here. What am I looking at? How do you say that in the local dialect? So what are we looking at? So we are standing in front of this Shimao archaeological site, and I already know where I am standing right now. You are very smart, and we are at the top right. This is the eastern gate at the outskirt of the city. So do you think this is very big an area? Well, it doesn't look so big, just like one dot, but I just ran here and I believe this is truly a very far, very big distance. So this is only 2,000 square meters, and if we put every place together, and this is 40,000 square meters, and this is the equivalent to the size of 6 forbidden cities. Well, Forbidden City, I could be truly exhausted after finishing touring inside, and this is equivalent to 6 forbidden cities, and it's amazing. And well, go ahead. What else can you tell me? So here you can see that this archaeological site includes the Royal Palace altar, the inner city, and also the outer city. The Royal Palace altar is the political and economic and cultural center of the ancient kingdom, because it is there that we found a lot of stone carvings and also some fossils of ancient animals. So truly that is the innermost area, and we are like at the third ring. We are at maybe the Lianhua Bridge or East Third Ring of Beijing. So tell me more about the inner city. The inner city is where those ancient people lived and worked. So what is this outer city for? So the outer skirt or the outer city is just for military defensive purposes, and it's a buffering zone in case of warring times. So what is this mountain? So this mountain is a natural barricade for military defensive purposes. And so now you can take a look at the route of traveling in, and to get to the innermost you have to go through the outer city, the inner city, and also the innermost. So from this perspective, you will know that the Royal Palace Altar is at the most safe place of this landscape. Alright, so I know that we are right now at the first defense line. What is over there? So it's Mamian. It's one of the ancient defensive structures. It's just like one military observatory deck. Well, it's just like your balcony. You're like, it's just like your terrace, and you can stand on it and have a 360-degree view of the city. Well, to tell you a secret, I don't have a terrace, and I live in the north fourth ring, and I live in a very tiny apartment. Well, this is another balcony or terrace, and it's also for defensive purposes. So if this is the north observatory deck, and here we can have a south observatory deck. So this is south. So we're heading east actually, and on my left hand is north. On my right hand we have the south observatory deck. So the north observatory deck is very high, and it's the highest point. Roughly it has an altitude of 1100 meters. What does the word Mao means? So here we have a village called Shimao village, and Mao is just like a valley in a mountainous area. I don't know if I'm professional in giving you this explanation. Well, I can fake that I got what you mean. So this is the concave city, or the interior city. And in China we have an ancient phrase that goes as, we'll put a tortoise in a very low ground, you can easily capture it. So this is also for military purposes, and if your enemy comes, we can just close the doors and then surround the enemy in a very low point. And so some people believe that this is the most famous door in China. So how come there's no mural paintings? Well, our mural paintings are being restored. And later, when this museum is truly and officially open, you can come back here and take a look at some of the beautiful mural paintings. So you are not officially open. We are still not open, but we are very glad to see some travelers already traveling here. And they can have a true and better understanding about the Chinese culture and Chinese civilization, and thus tell the story of Chinese civilization to more and much bigger audience. So what significance does this make to China's archaeology? We have some major discoveries here, and we have pushed one more step forward in archaeology. I heard a lot of articles from overseas, talking about Shimao. Truly, we have won a lot of titles, and we have drawn a lot of attention from the world. So this is the North Observatory deck, and this is the South Observatory deck, and we are actually walking east. So this is from 4,300 years ago. This is the place of sunrise at the peak time of summer, and at the time they already have a lot of knowledge about astronomy, and truly this is amazing. What are the other stories that you can tell me? Have you heard the story of hiding a jade in a wall? Well, I bet you haven't.
我们来看一下，就是说，
Well, because I was studying in Taiwan from a young age, so putting jade in a wall means that you put jade tablets, jade items, jade ware in a wall, and after a few walks, there is a jade, because jade is believed to be a very good messenger between human beings and the god. And if you put jade in a wall,
他们有这样的一种美好寄托，希望这个城市能够
that they believe that they will be blessed, that the people living in a city will be very peaceful and there will be never any enemies invading from the outside. So what is this?
为什么有这么多
So a lot of the visitors are astonished by this. Are they bones, head bones? Yes, this is the head bones, and here we have a 24
头都比较偏小一些，
skulls.
这些都是
So these are fairly
在年纪是
small, and according to our measurement, these are young girls, young ladies at the age of 20 to 25. How did you know that? Well, because we have some special tools and equipment which can measure the age of these skulls. So
性来做大量的祭祀或者奠基仪式是非常罕见的。
thousands of years ago, it was pretty rare to sacrifice those young ladies to their heavenly god. So now let's come to the next stop. But this part so far is very scary. So now we are actually at the edge of the outer city, and later, if we keep walking, we're gonna walk out of the door. So what is there outside? If we walk further, that is not the part of the inner city.
匈奴没有这么近，匈奴没有，它可能最
So
近
is it
直
the
接说是当时的一个
northern nomadic tribes? No, it's not that close. Shimao is like one very large trade center at the time. So this is another sand table. Well, let me show you how we walked out. And you came from the Royal Palace altar, and then you ran all the way to this place after crossing two defense lines. And so that is where I talked with my colleagues. And then you traveled from the inner city to the outer city, and this is where you are right now. So I believe we have some colleagues working from there. Well, I'm getting hungry. Well, maybe we can get something good to eat. All right, I can see that there are a lot of artifacts.
发掘出来
So when you excavate them out, how do you handle them? So we're gonna transfer them to a relic preservation center, and after repairing and after restoration, they are ready to be put back.
国庆
So where do we put them? In a museum. So do you have a museum here? Well, the museum is gonna be officially open during China's National Day this year, and by that time, you're welcome to come back. So, alright, this is so far my part of the job, and later I'm gonna give it to my colleague Lucy. See you. Good afternoon, my name is Lucy. Welcome back. And just now, my two colleagues had two wonderful trips, and one of them is visiting the Royal Palace altar, and the other one is visiting the outer skirts of the city. But here, on my front, let me show you how the archaeological researchers and staff preserve and protect the relics. So here in front of me, I have two baskets. One of them carries water, and the other one is very dry. And what are those? Well, let me have a few words with my friend here. So say hello to our camera. Good afternoon. My name is Liu Chun. I'm a archaeological staff at the Shimao Museum. So thank you very much, Mr. Liu. Tell me what you're doing right now. So in Shimao, we have excavated a lot of bones, animal bones actually. I'm cleaning them, and we are recovering and repairing all the different pieces so that we can gain some rudimentary knowledge about the ancient animals that lived here. So a lot of bones from animals. So you have to clean each and every piece exactly because they have been buried underground for thousands of years. They have a lot of elements attached to that, and when you separate them, you can use water to clean them, and then you're ready to carry on with your research. So these bones, how many bones have you discovered, and do you know what the animals are they from? So I'm having a lot of questions, and can I hold one piece up? So from this piece of bone, I can not tell what kind of animal it was from. So we have discovered many different types of animals in Shimao, and most of them are sheep and goats. According to our rudimentary calculation, there were more than 1 million goats living here. So right now we eat mutton. So tell us how important mutton was in the past. So since long time ago, mutton is one of the main dishes on the table. 4,000 years ago, the situation was like this in Shimao. Shimao existed for 500 years, but a total of 1 million goats were slaughtered. Well, this means that each and every day there are 7 to 8 goats slaughtered. So this means that Shimao at the time was a very booming city, and the people there, they could eat a mutton every day. Alright, now I just put it back. So I know that we have a lot of the other artifacts, and these fish bones, and after they are dried, where do we put them? So I heard that you put it next door, and can you give me a brief look? No problem. Wow, amazing. Here you can see that there are many different piles of bones. And these are not just bones, and these are pottery. So when we discovered them, so the bones, they were put together with the debris of pottery. So we just put them together according to the position of the archaeological survey. And if we could form these pieces together, we can maybe form a complete piece of pottery vase, and that will give us a lot of clue for what the ancient life was like. Our understanding is that those pottery was cooking and kitchenware, and we believe there were a lot of liquid in the pottery. And here I can see a short note. Well, let me read it out. It says cultured wine, western side of wall, and there was also a date. So this is one typical procedure of archaeological work. We have to look into every archaeological findings, and when we find something, we have to take a note about what it is, where it was unearthed. So we have to do very well this documentation work. So does that mean that you are going to analyze into all the different piles of debris? Yes, we're going to do that because Shimao is just huge. We have dozens and even hundreds of pits, each with an acre of 10 square meters, and each have many different layers of artifacts. So later, when we put every piece together, we may have some wonderful findings. let me just show you what is this. So we put together a few pieces, and you can see that this is a flat bottom pottery piece. Well, can I hold it in my hand? Yes, you can. Yeah, this is amazing. You can see that these two pieces are glued together perfectly. And I believe you spent a lot of time finding these two pieces. Yes. Well, I have to put it back very carefully. So here you can see that there are many different patterns on the surface of the pottery piece. So this is the typical patterns of the Longshan historical period. What they do is to attach a lot of pattern on it, and then they burn it in an oven, and what they can finally get is a vase like this. So this is the top part of a pottery pot. Thank you very much for telling me this. Here you can see that all of them are in ruins. They are debris, and what good method do you have to glue them together and to put them in a museum? We have a cultural relic hospital. So it's actually on the other side. So we can have a brief look of the cultural relic hospital. And from the hospital you can see a lot of complete pieces. Well, I'm very curious because I have a lot of you have a lot of staff working in the hospital. Are they archaeologists or are they working staff? For archaeologists, it's a very narrow concept, and I believe you can regard me as a cultural relic staff. But I'm not an archaeologist because I don't normally go to the archaeological site for excavations and for on-site investigation and research. To do that, you will need to have some professional knowledges and professional expertise. So we're just working together with the Shaanxi Relic institution and to play a supportive role. So I can see that there are a lot of loans that are being dried, and so normally the work procedure is to dry them and then put them into boxes, and over the years we have put those bones in thousands of boxes. And I can see a new pile of bones, and I think it was just washed. Yes, and this is like gypsum. Is it excavated? This is an animal bone excavated from somewhere else. So because we have to do long distance travel, and so that is why we wrap it up with gypsum. All right, you do have a lot of treasures here, and now let's take a look at your cultural relic hospital. Well, let me tell you, this is the first such hospital in Shaanxi province, although it's built in the wild, but it's very functional. So you have been working here for 6 years? Yes, I graduated in 2016 from Northwest University of China. So what was your major? I was majoring in ancient history of China in a school of history. I heard that the institution was having a public recruitment, so that is how I applied my job, and I can tell you we have students, we have colleagues from many different majors. So truly this is putting together a lot of talents from many different disciplines. Are you living far away from your home? Do you miss your family? Well, I just settled down in Shanghu County, and I'm only 70 kilometers away from my home. So I go back home every weekend. So you have been working in this profession for quite a number of years. Do you regret this decision? I never regret this decision because I made it myself. After graduation, I had many different options. After comprehensively considering my personal career and also my family, I made a decision to come here. So are there any policy supports to your work? We had a lot of support from the central level, and also from the provincial government. Shimao is making breakthroughs in recent years, so that is why we can get a lot of fiscal and financial support, and also policy support. So I can see there are some patterns on the stones here. So this is just a replica. We're using this 3D printing technology. This is one-to-one scanning and one-to-one replicate of the original piece that you saw earlier on a program. So this is an amazing technology, and it's very helpful to preservation and restoration of ancient relics. Alright, so this is the Shimao Cultural Relic Hospital. Now let's get inside. So in Shimao, have you been giving a lot of awards? It's quite many, and from 2011, when this archaeological program was initiated, we have obtained 5 prizes for new discoveries of archaeology in China. So that was truly amazing. In 2016, it won the first prize of China Field Archaeology. So this is the top prize in archaeology in China. So alright, you can go to the cultural relic restoration room, because just now I saw a lot of debris, but here I'm wondering if I could see some complete pieces. So here you can see something very interesting. Alright, just follow us in and let's check this place out. So here you can see that they may look the same, but one thing special is that you can look from here, and this is one of the operating tables. I can put it up. So I can see 2 nose holes, and this is the beak of the bird, and this is the nose of the bird. It was actually vacuum, and we actually restored this animal, and it's actually an eagle, and this is 2,000 years earlier than the terracotta warrior. And terracotta warrior was using pottery, and this is also using pottery clay. So this is the wing that we restored, and that is the wing of the eagle. So it's quite similar to terracotta warrior, and it used to be kept in a very important place. So this is the eye of the eagle, and over there I can see there are a lot of restored pieces. So we have restored the leg of the eagle, and when it is 100% restored, it might have a height of 1.3 meters. So we can we look forward to this day, and one day when it is restored, it will be put back in the museum. So this is related to the totems of China, and Shang Dynasty is well known to all the students, and we have bone characters. So in Shang Dynasty, people had a lot of worship towards these birds. This is a clay bird, and of course the clay eagle is the bird, and so I can tell you that the people in Shimao in ancient times, they had a lot of aspiration or worship towards the bird. So in general, I just paid a visit to Sanxingdui, and I saw the gold wine, and on the gold wine there are patterns of fish and bird. Do you have a lot of knowledge on that? So Sanxingdui was relatively later than Shimao. It was in late Shang Dynasty, and recently I heard that a lot of metals were excavated. For example, the gold facial mask, no matter in terms of engineering or in terms of archaeological significance, is just amazing. But Shimao was much earlier than Sanxingdui. So Shimao was covering the whole Xia dynasty, and it was basically at the beginning period of Xia dynasty. Now let's get into another room, and this is the cultural relic display room. And we put together and sorted out a lot of the artifacts, we put them together, and those are the treasures that we have restored. So from cleaning, from sorting out, to repairing, and now this is the display room. So you talked about Sanxingdui. You can take a look at the stone carvings over there, and you can see that the style and the face pattern is very identical to Sanxingdui. Well, this shows that from thousands of years ago, there were cultural exchanges between different parts of China. So there was some connection between Shaanxi and Sanxingdui. So this reminds me of Sanxingdui because I believe that there were a lot of cultural connections between different parts in China. And this one, for example, this is the jade tablet. And in Sanxingdui, there were a jade tablet excavated carrying similar patterns. So this one was excavated in 2018, and it's very big, 28 centimeters. So 4,000 years ago, jade tablets carries some unique political functions and purposes. Well, I can make one point, and correct me if I'm wrong. In Sanxingdui, we have elephant tusk, we have shells, and here in Shimao, this is also shells. And according to our research, we know that this shell was from the South China Sea. And at the time, maybe it was used for money, for currency. And in Shang Dynasty, there were currency, but this one was excavated from Shimao, and we believe it was used as a currency in ancient times. So here we have a whistle that is made of stone, made of bones. Here we have another artifact. This is a replicate that we made using bamboo. So this is how it works. And this is the sound that it can stand out. You just need to hold it firmly on one end and then push it and pull it. So you can see that it's giving out one very particular sound. Nowadays in Chinese Taiwan, in Sichuan province, and also in some of the ethnic minorities, they use this kind of music instrument to give out some sound when they present some cultural performances. And in 2013, we invited a lot of experts from Japan and Singapore and Hungary, and they also saw this ancient music instruments. So this is truly amazing because in many different sites we have discovered similar stuff. And this one, I believe, is the earliest that was discovered in China. So what is this? Is this a necklace? So this is a needle that they use to sew clothing. So this is also manufactured with bones. So we could see that there is the hole on one end of the bone, and so we just put them together with some modern string. So you can take a look and compare the needles we use today and the needles that our ancestors used thousands of years ago. And I saw that this is a white colored glove, and I can give you some rare opportunity. I can allow you to have some hands-on experience with this ancient necklace. All right, we can open the box. And I'm gonna try if modern strings work for ancient needles made of bones. You can take a look at this needle points, and on one edge of this needle you can see that there is a very tiny pierce. Even for today, it's a lot of difficulty in manufacturing such very tiny pierces. Imagine how difficult can it be from thousands of years ago. And You can take a look here. So this is the needles that we are using right now in modern times. And if you compare the diameter of the piers, they are identical and they are only 0.2 millimeters in diameter. So truly it's amazing. So are you telling me that even with the old bones you can sew today's clothing? So today if you are talking about those silk woven fabric, yes, you can use ancient bones. You can use ancient needles made of bones. I have to be very careful. Let me use both of my hands. You can take it up and you can try whether you can pull it through. Because I'm not having very good sight here, and can you give me another needle? So, dear viewers, I'm doing an experiment here. I'm using a modern stream that we use, and let's see if it can pull through the ancient needles made of bones. So what kind of bone is this? So this is the bone used from goats. So when they eat mutton, there will be some bones as leftover. So we found a lot of ancient bones, and we found roughly 18,000 of them. And you can see, can you pull your string through? So if you have any good suggestions, tell me in the comment area. Well, I have to wet it a little bit if I do it in a home, but I'm in front of the camera, let me not do that. Fantastic. It still works. It's amazing. So this is a string that we use today, and it can pull through a needle from 4,000 years ago. And you have excavated 18,000 needles. Does that mean that there was a workshop, a plant for that? Yes, we believe there was such a workshop. So when we found those ancient needles, we also found a lot of raw materials, and some of them were half completed, half produced. You can see that this is a basket that carries the needle. So now let me join Mei Yue and Tianhe, and now let's see that could they find this ancient workshop that is buried underground.
好的，谢谢 Lucy。我们刚才看到了 Lucy 在这个文物修
Thank you,
复那里
Lucy.
的情
And
况。
we saw Lucy took a visit at the Cultural Relic Hospital.
这比拼图要复杂多了。
I saw a lot of comments, and they are telling me that it's a lot more difficult gluing those debris together. And some are asking why some of the containers contain some animal bones. So, in Shimao's time, people were living as farmers, and some of them hunt animals. And some are giving us comments that there were a heavy gust of wind. So, let me read some of the comments. And I said in the comments, don't get lost and come back to the program. So, do you like it? Well, I can tell you that the air quality here is much better. So sorry for giving you the assignment of 3,000 meter run. So it has been 10 years since this place has been under archaeological survey. And at the very beginning, I brought all the viewers on a tour to the Royal Palace altar. And then we gave you the chance for you to tell us something about the outer skirts. And Lucy in the program just now showed us how the ancient pieces and pottery debris were glued together. So when these ancient needles were discovered, it was actually discovered here, and we believe that it was thrown down here from the top. In addition to some very complete and well-preserved needles, we also had a lot of half-produced needles. So we asked a lot of the questions, what are the holes for on the wall? And so this is the complete and original design. So this is called Shimao. So this is one of the techniques that the Shimao people used in building a wall. So this is truly playing a very important role to support the structure of the wall. Hi. So now we are finally getting together, and so we are actually recovering the scenes from thousands of years ago, and you can see that the ancient people, they were using many different archaeological tools. Well, can I touch this? No, you're not allowed to do that. Well, I'm having a interaction with our ancestors from thousands of years ago. So where's my partner? Where's my partner? So you lost her. So at the very beginning you were lost, and now you lost your partner. You're less oriented today. So when you see a king, what would you do? So I'm the Shimao king right now, and when you see a king, what would you do? So imagine you are just the Shimao king. What would you do? So if I see Shimao Wang in the mirror, Shimao king in the mirror, I would simply tell me, wow, this is handsome. So just now in my part of the program, we said that we're going to find the ancient workshop for needle and tell me where it was. So it was actually here, and this is the place where the ancient needle workshop was discovered. Amazing. So truly this is a very important place. So I want to ask you, you ask us, what is our feeling after this tour? And let me ask you, how did you feel after this trip? So I think this is filling in a gap of our memory for a very long time. And so due to time constraints, and we know that it has been 10 years since this place was under archaeological survey, and here we are having a close contact with the past, and we are filling in a gap of memory in ourselves. We are discovering the myths of childhood of humanity, and there will be more clues and knowledge unveiled from this place. And in Shaanxi, we're going to have 11 such live stream shows. Stay tuned. Thank you. Bye.